Hey folks, Big Woodsman here. Today I'm going to show you how I built my spit, my rotisserie barbecue. So stay tuned. Let's see what we get into. So I posted a video a while back on a rotisserie pig, a pig roast I did, and a lot of viewers have commented. They were like, how did you build that spit? So today I thought I would go over how we built it, sort of the steps I took. It's already assembled, but at least I can show you what I did to build this spit. So let's get into it. First step is basically the barbecue tank, what we need to actually build the spit out of. So let's go ahead and let's check that out. So here is the barbecue itself. The actual unit is built from an old oil tank, furnace oil tank that you would have in your house. When they started bringing in new legislation and said that you had to have different tanks, certified tanks, you can find these tanks just about anywhere, scrap metal piles, garbage. Basically, they're free to a good home. You just gotta look for them. So step one of making your rotisserie barbecue is you need to cut out a section where you can actually put whatever it is you're cooking, be it a pig, be it turkeys, chickens, ribs, whatever you want to put on this thing. So I went ahead and I cut the tank out, and you can see here is roughly the center line. I've gone a little bit past the center line because we want to have our spit rod basically right dead center of the barbecue. So you just want to cut a little bit further. I'm not going to go into detail on how you prep a tank, an oil tank, for cutting it. I am by no means going to take liability for anyone who does anything dumb and cuts a tank when it's got partial oil in it or whatever. Torches, I don't care. Look on the internet, find out how to do it safely. That's the important part. So the oil tank comes with these feet adapters already in it for sitting on a flat pad. So all we had to do was get metal pipe that thread right in. They're threaded into the pockets, and then create a spreader bar on the bottom to distribute the weight. And basically our barbecue sits at a perfect workable height. So now that we have the front cut out of our tank, we want to use this tank, of course, for food grade. So that requires cleaning out the inside of the tank. So when you go to your tank, you're gonna have to burn off the excess oil residue or anything that was in this tank if it was used for furnace oil like this one. So the best thing I did is once it was done, cut, I ended up taking a propane torch, a large propane torch for burning driveway sealant, and ended up burning the entire inside of the tank. And basically it burns off all of that old oil residue, takes it right back to the old rusty metal, which is what you want to do. You don't want any of that residue for cooking. Very important step, however you want to do it. I've seen people start a fire inside, just burn it off, but you have to make sure this tank is completely oil free before you start cooking with it. The tank, of course, has got fill ports on the top. I left these fill ports so they act as a chimney and allow the smoke and heat to get out of the actual barbecue itself. Nice feature to have. The next step on our barbecue is I wanted to have an adjustable holder for the spit rod to go on. So I found this already perforated tube. Found another one that was just slightly larger. As you can see, put a bolt in. Now I can take that bolt out and I can shift this up or down. You can see where I've raised it 2 inches here for a project I was doing. But you can slide this up, you can slide it down, however you want that close to the flames. On the other side, I just used 2.5 inch square tubing, and then the 2 inch perforated slots in perfectly. So you'll see that this one is located on the inside of the barbecue, and that's why it's the good solid piece, so it'll retain the heat better. And this one's on the outside. So the reason I did this one on the inside is because this is the mount for our motor. And I wanted to mount that on the outside, of course, to keep it away from the heat. So that means I had to put this on the inside. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our actual spit rod. And that's what you put all your meat on, your pig, your turkeys, whichever you would like. So this spit rod I made out of 1-inch steel. So it's a 1-inch steel rod, and I treat this steel rod the exact same as a cast iron pan. Basically oil it and then heat treat it, and it'll stay rust free and food grade ready. Same with these prongs. So I took a piece of round steel that fits just over top of the spit rod. I drilled a hole in it and then welded a nut right over top of that hole. And then when I crank this bolt down tight onto the rod, it holds these in place, and then it becomes one and spins whatever you're looking to rotisserie. On the end of the shaft, I welded on a gear, which is then dropped down to the drive unit. I'll show you the drive unit in a second. So here's our drive unit. I have 2 bolts mounted right here, and I've welded them on the back side. So they're solid now to this frame. And then once they go in the slot, the receiver part of the barbecue, then you can put these nuts on the back side. That'll just hold it in place. And the whole weight of this unit is what holds it with tension on the chain. The whole unit weighs about 40 pounds in total, so it actually tensions the chain nicely. Now, for the drive unit to fit on, I had to create this channel that comes all the way down to the bottom, and it has a slot in it that goes on both sides the whole way down. Now, I showed you the pins on the drive unit. The drive unit itself slots into here, and you can tighten up the bolts if you want to, but you generally don't have to, because the whole weight of this unit is what keeps tension on the chain. And you can see it's tensioned almost perfectly just with the weight of the motor. So here's the important part of the rotisserie. You want the rotisserie to be spinning at 6 to 8 RPM. Now, motors don't generally go that slow, so you need a gear reduction. And that's what this is. So this is a 60 to 1 gear reduction. So that means for every 60 turns of the motor, this turns just once. We have a 3rd horsepower motor that's spinning at 1600 RPM. So we have a small pulley on this, a large pulley on that, which is now also a gear reduction, then going into a 60 to 1 gear reduction, and then a small pulley going into a larger pulley. So if you were to factor all that in, and I've done the math on it, I get roughly 9 revolutions per minute up here on the spit rod, which is just about perfect. So you're wondering where I got this gear reduction. I'll put a link hopefully in the comments on where you can get it, like Harbor Freight or Princess Auto, any of those types of stores. This is actually the drive unit from a control gate, so it's the mechanical arm control gate, and it works absolutely perfect for this operation. The chain, I'm using a heavier chain. This is a number 41 chain, and you could go smaller, you can go heavier, but I find it's about perfect for this operation. If you wanted to go slower, you could also increase this sprocket to double the size, and you would reduce that down yet again. So let's plug this in so you can actually see it work. Well, there you have it, folks. That's how I made my rotisserie spit. I've done a couple pig roasts with it already. I have another one coming up in a couple days, so I'm going to be filming some of that, so stay tuned for that. As always, I'm going to try to link a lot of the parts that I use in the description below, so if you have any questions, feel free to check that out. And then if you need any comments, if there's anything I can do to help you through a build like this of your own, absolutely reach out, happy to do it. So remember to like, subscribe, follow, and there's life out there in the woods. I'll see you out there in it.